Hello all. So let's get started with the next part of this tutorial. So as we have modeled and textured this exhibition stall over here in Autodesk 3ds Max. So now we are going to light it. So let's get started. So very first of all, for this lights, we have a light over here. Let's go into this lights, go into the Vray, and we have a light called Vray IES. So let's take this IES light over here. So we'll define this IES lights in this form. That's it. Okay. So these IES lights, we are going to place it over here in this form. Just shift this. Okay. So now go into this modify panel and you have a IES file. So now what you can do is, we have some kind of IES presets over here. So we can call out this presets of this IES files. So let's take the presets. So let's call this file IES file. Let's go into this IES and let's take the 15th preset over here. Let's make this. Alright, let's make this as realistic. Okay. So as you can see over here, this is your preset that is for the 15 number. So you can change this. Okay, better. Okay, alright. So now what I'm going to do over here is, let's change the color of this light over here. So let's change it. So we can reduce its multiplier also. So you can go down and you have an option over here, that's your power. So you can reduce the power, that's your multiplier of the light. So you can just change it again. Oops. So select this light and let's change it over here. Select this and press shift and drag it. Let's keep it as instance. So instance will help you out, like, you know, so you change one light, you get the same parameters over here. So click on this light. So if you want to reduce its intensity, so you can easily reduce the power of the lights. You can, yes, that's it. So you can reduce the power of the lights. Alright, so still you can reduce it. Let's reduce it. Better. Alright, so take this light again and make one more copy over here. So let's go to the top view and we are going to take this all kind of copies. So shift this light again over here, push this light like this over here. You can rotate it. Better. Okay. I think this is a better one. You can just push it like this, press shift and drag to make a copy, again shift and drag to make one more copy. So as you can see over here, we have just duplicated this, all the lights over here. So you can just remove this if you don't need it. You can, oops, I'm sorry. Alright, so we need some more lights, so we are going to utilize this, some more lights over here. So let's select this light, click over here, you can just copy this, subtract this part, so just drag and copy this. So if you don't need a instance over here, you can easily remove the instance from here. If you don't require the instance, you can just easily remove the instance part. So let's push this into this view, side view. Let's click over here, again take a Vray IES lights. Alright, so you can just select this lights, push this over here. So you can just drop this down till here, click over here. So select the light, you can just go into this, click on the IES light, so click on this none, and let's take a IES file. Okay, better. So now over here what we are going to do is we are going to change the color of this light. Let's change this. Better, this looks much better. So let's duplicate this and let's make it as instance again, copy this and make one more copy. That's it. So let's move into this camera view. As you can see over here, so now we have defined this all lights over here accordingly. So let's save this file. So now what I'll do over here is I'll take a Vray light over here. I'll be defining a Vray light right from here. So let's click over here. We'll be defining one Vray from here, or you can just rotate this. So you can just push it back over here and you can reduce its multiplier and change the color of the light. That's it. Alright, so you can increase its size. If you want to increase its size, you can just increase its size over here accordingly. Better. So let's move into the camera view. Just click over here. Okay, so go into this options, menu, make it invisible, make it double-sided. Now we need to make some kind of changes over here. So if you want this light to be in the form of a dome also, you can define it as a dome also. So we are just defining it as one V-ray light, and this all kind of a supportive light. So you can take one more light if you require it. So you can just take one more light, just copy it, and you can just reduce this stuff. You can rotate this light over here. You can keep this light from here like this. Alright. So this is you can just reduce this, make it a bit lesser and lesser. So 0.2 would be a better option. You can just reduce the multiplier of this light also. You can make it a bit less. Better. Now let's go into the rendering. Let's go into the render setup. Into the render setup, let's go into the V-ray part. So very first of all, after starting up with the V-ray part, you can go down and let's set up a filter. You can keep it as a Catmull room. That's for your 25 pixel filter with pronounced edge enhancement effects. So you can keep the settings, or you can keep it as this Lanczos filter. For a better, you can increase it to adaptive subdivision. Okay, so it's like you can change it. Oops. Alright, so you can keep it as adaptive subdivision. You can increase the sampler. So minimum samples, let's keep it as 5. Increase it to 20 to the max. Go into the global DMC. Let's go into the global DMC. Let's go down over here. You don't need some more advanced settings right now. So push this down. Go into the environment, GI environment, reflection and refraction. Into the color mapping, that's your mapping part, exponential. So it's like it shows you the difference between the stuff. So it's like the exponential, useful to prevent the burnouts in the bright areas. So let's go into the GI, the global illumination, the bounce, light bounce. Let's keep the primary bounce as irradiance map and the secondary engine, that's the secondary bounce, as light cache. You can go into the settings, into this map, keep the current preset as low because we don't need much higher. Subdivisions you can increase to 150, and let's keep this as 50 over here right now. So no more changes, that's it. So no more cache and all this stuff. Alright, so perfect. So we have done some few changes over here. So now you can use the camera a bit in front, and let's render it. Alright. As you can see over here, we have just rendered this part. Just a sec. Let's go into the material, and I think so this material isn't supportive, so you can take this, select this. Let's go into the perspective view over here and just go on selecting this. sometimes the material isn't supporting it. So go into material and let's go into the standard, go into the Vray material. Let's take a new material, take a eyedropper tool, pick a color. That's it. Alright, so let's assign it in a much better way. Let's render it. Alright, so now it's a perfect one. So as you can see over here, so the light is illuminating. So you can use the background, so you can use the HDR backgrounds also. If you want to keep some backgrounds, you can also change it in Photoshop afterwards. If you want to take some kind of more closer shots, you can easily take some kind of more closer shots also. So you need some kind of changes in the camera angles, so you can keep some more changes in the camera angles also. That's it. Alright, so we need to just push this down, push it in. That's it. Alright, okay, so just render it back. So as you can see over here, we have used the Vray light and the Vray IAS light. So the subdivisions, you can increase the stuff. So if you increase this, so that would be much better for us to view it well. Alright, okay, that's it. You can just render it back again. So it's taking some more time. Alright, so if you require to give some more reflections, you can easily give some more reflections. If you need to assign a background, you can easily assign a background in the environment map. You can just finalize that. You can give some kind of light material over here. You can assign some light material accordingly. So it's going to render the pre-pass, sorry. Alright, you can give some kind of a bit of reflections on the floor also. Okay, so it's going to render the image now. If required to use the Vray volume fog, that can also be used. So it's rendering it. So it's rendering the image. So it takes time if you are rendering with a higher quality and increasing the subdivisions. Alright. It's taking a bit longer time. So we can reduce a bit because it might take much more time for the rendering. So what we can do is we will just reduce the frame size for now. So we can just set it to around the custom one, that's the 640 by 480, better. And let's render this stuff. Alright, so this might be much faster. So after that we are going to carry out some occlusion render. We can say the ambient occlusion. Ambient occlusion is a kind of a pass which we merge it with the diffuse. Okay, so you can blend it. The occlusion render gives you the soft shadows, which gives you a bit of depth. We'll do it after this. Okay. can still reduce the light if you require it. Alright, after you're done with this rendering part, let's save this. Let's save it on the desktop as diffuse ex. Let's save it in JPG. So now the next part is, let's go into the material. Let's go into the slate editor and let's take Vray dirt material. So Vray dirt, let's take the Vray dirt over here, and also Vray light material. So we need this light material and a dirt material over here. So we can connect this over here, double click on it to the Vray dirt. Alright, increase the radius. You can just select it and assign this. Okay. So as you can see over here, we are rendering the occlusion render over here right now. So you can go into this render setup, and if you click on this V-Ray option, and if you go down over here, you have an option over here called override material. So override material is something like you can override something. So all your default material will get hide up, and you can override it with some other materials like the occlusion part if you're working with it. So we have connected this V-Ray dirt with the V-Ray light material, and let's increase this radius to 512 and let's render it back. Alright, so as you can see over here, we are generating some kind of soft shadows over here, as we are having a bit of a low quality. So this is your ambient occlusion. So that's not your default diffuse pass before what we have saved, but we can, composite it. You can generate the passes individually. So let's save it in the form of your OCC, that's your occlusion. Save and click OK. So let me tell you once again, the thing which we have rendered previously, that's your diffuse pass, that's not your diffuse pass, that's your normal render. If you want to generate the passes, we can do it over here. We can go into the render. So for generating the passes over here, you can go into this render setup. You can click on this render elements and you can add the passes. So now as we have generated its occlusion over here, so now let's composite these two passes, the diffuse and the occlusion, in Adobe Photoshop. So let's start with the Photoshop part. So open this application over here. So let's click over here. Let's take the other pass, the occlusion. Let's drag this over here. Alright, so now you can just change the blending modes to make it look more better. You can use the multiply also. Multiply also gives you a better look over here. So as you can see over here, so normal, darken and multiply. Even you can use the screen option. So these are some kind of blending modes. This overlay looks much better over here and reduce its opacity. That's it. So that's it. So thanks for watching this tutorial.